It all started with a photo. It was just a regular Thursday evening. I had just gotten off work, sat down on the couch with a beer, and scrolled through Instagram like I always did. That's when I saw it. My girlfriend Emily had posted a picture to her story, a grainy, moody photo of a hotel room. You know the kind. Sun slanting through sheer curtains, a half-made bed, someone's bag in the corner. It had a nostalgic caption, something like, "Take me back." Seemed harmless at first glance, but the second I saw it, my stomach dropped. Because I knew that room. I recognized the wallpaper, the ugly beige lamp, the cheap abstract painting on the wall. That wasn't just any hotel room. That was the Westview Inn off I-90, 2 towns over. I'd been there once for a friend's wedding, months ago. And Emily? She'd never been there with me. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe she had stayed there before we met. Maybe she went with her friends. But something didn't sit right. The timestamp said the photo was taken 6 weeks ago. We were already living together by then. I racked my brain. Was there a weekend she went to see her cousin in Portland? Yeah, that was 6 weeks ago. I stared at the image until it felt like it was burning through my eyes. I clicked back to her profile. Nothing out of the ordinary. Cute selfies, pictures of her brunch with coworkers, a few mirror shots from our apartment. But the story, it just didn't fit. So I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I saved the photo. Then I reverse image searched it. Nothing came up. That meant she did take it. I zoomed in. On the corner of the bed, there was a reflection in a makeup mirror lying face up. It was faint, but you could see a pair of legs, bare, crossed at the ankle. A man's. Definitely not hers. I felt this strange mix of dread and rage start creeping in. My mind was racing. Who the hell was she with? Why this room? Why post it now? That night, I acted like everything was fine. She came home late, said she got drinks with coworkers, kissed me on the cheek, smelled like gin and vanilla lotion. I smiled, made dinner, and died a little inside. Over the next few days, I started digging. Emily was always on her phone, so I waited for the right moment. One morning while she was in the shower, I grabbed it. I wasn't proud of it, but I had to know. She had Face ID, but I'd watched her open it 100 times. I held the phone up to her sleeping face the night before, just in case I needed access. It worked. I opened her messages. Nothing. All clean. Too clean. Even the group chats were dry. No flirty texts, no late-night convos, not even memes from friends. That's when I realized she deleted everything. Then I checked her recently deleted folder. Empty. But she made a mistake. She hadn't cleared her Google Maps timeline. On the same weekend she was supposed to be with her cousin, it showed her traveling south, stopping for coffee in a random town, and checking into, the Westview Inn. She had lied. Still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. I wanted to know who it was, and that's when the rabbit hole opened. I created a fake Instagram account, just a burner. Used a stock photo, followed a few random pages, then followed her. She accepted in less than a day. From that account, I watched her stories. Nothing too suspicious at first, but then she posted a boomerang with some soft jazz playing in the background. And in the reflection of her wine glass, I caught a glimpse of someone's hand. Male, tattooed. I didn't recognize it. That tattoo, it was a snake wrapping around a dagger. So I searched Instagram using that detail. Took hours. But eventually, I found him. Tyler. He wasn't even subtle. His profile was full of gym pics, thirst traps, photos of him hiking shirtless with that same tattoo, and in his tagged photos I found it, the smoking gun. A picture from 6 weeks ago, at the Westview Inn, the same room, same angle. He was sitting on the bed grinning. The caption read, "Weekend vibes." And guess who liked it? Emily. Now I was shaking. This guy was real. He had a name, a face, a digital trail that intersected with Emily's in all the wrong ways. I went back to her Instagram, and suddenly things I hadn't noticed before started to make sense. Posts that had been deleted, stories that only I seemed to miss, captions that felt like they were directed at someone else. She'd been covering her tracks. Carefully. But not carefully enough. I couldn't sleep that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to her soft breathing beside me, wondering how long it had been going on. I kept imagining her in that hotel room with him. Laughing, touching, doing all the things she used to do with me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that room, that stupid beige lamp, that snake tattoo. The next morning I kept it together. I made coffee, kissed her on the forehead, told her I had to head into the office early. She smiled and said she might go to a yoga class later. Yoga, right. Instead, I drove to a diner across town and sat in my car, going through every one of Tyler's posts again. I checked who liked what she commented on. The algorithm betrayed her. The deeper I went, the clearer the pattern became. She didn't just hook up with him. She liked him. She replied to his stories with emojis. She commented inside jokes on his hiking photos. She even sent him fire emojis under a shirtless pic from a month ago. That was while I was out of town for my cousin's engagement. I remember FaceTiming her that weekend. She said she missed me. Then came the worst part. I found Tyler's Twitter. Barely used, but still linked to his Instagram. And 2 weeks ago, he tweeted, "Nothing like the way she whispers my name when we're alone in a room full of secrets." It got like 3 likes. One of them? Emily. I sat there gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white, my girlfriend of 2 years. The woman I thought I was going to propose to by the end of the year. Whispering his name. I had to know if she was still seeing him, if it was over or if she was just better at hiding it now. So I set a trap. That night, I told her I had a business trip next weekend. Said my boss needed me at a client site in Seattle. Her reaction was neutral. Too neutral. No, I'll miss you, no concern, just a quick nod and something like, "Okay, I'll probably just hang out here and catch up on sleep." Sure. Sleep. The next few days, I played my role perfectly. Talked about flights I hadn't booked, meetings that didn't exist, and when Friday came, I packed a bag, kissed her goodbye at the door, and drove around the block. Then I parked in a spot where I could see our building and waited. 3 hours later, a car pulled up. Not an Uber. A beat-up black Jeep. Tyler. I recognized him immediately. He didn't even wait 5 minutes. Walked right up to the door, buzzed in, and disappeared inside. I couldn't feel my hands. My whole body was ice. I wanted to run in there and scream, throw all her stuff out the window, fight him, but I didn't. I needed evidence. Something undeniable. So I waited. All night. From my car. I watched the lights go on and off. Around 11 p.m. they went dark. I knew what that meant. In the morning he came out wearing the same hoodie he'd worn the night before, looking smug, checking his phone. He didn't even try to sneak out. I followed him. Not in a crazy stalker way. I just needed to know where he lived. What his life looked like. Maybe I thought I'd see something that made sense of all this. But when he pulled up to a small house on the west side of town, something unexpected happened. He walked in, and a little kid ran out to hug him. My heart dropped. He was a dad, and then a woman stepped out onto the porch. Early 30s, red hair, holding a coffee mug. She kissed him on the cheek. I sat in my car across the street, frozen, watching this perfect little scene play out like something from a sitcom. Husband comes home from a work trip, wife greets him with a kiss, kid wraps around his legs like he's a superhero. Except I knew what had happened the night before. I knew where Tyler really was. And suddenly, it wasn't just about Emily anymore. This man was lying to his family the same way Emily was lying to me. Maybe worse. And she had to know. She had to know he had a kid. You don't just accidentally get involved with someone who lives in a suburban house with wind chimes and a chalkboard sign that says "Home Sweet Home." At that moment, the rage shifted. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was disgusted. This wasn't just a one-time mistake. It wasn't even just betrayal. This was 2 people building something in the shadows, destroying everything in their paths. I drove home shaking. She was still there, sitting on the couch in a hoodie, hair in a bun, scrolling through TikTok like nothing happened. She looked up, smiled. "You're back early." I wanted to scream. Instead, I sat down across from her and said, "Did you have fun last night?" She blinked. "What do you mean?" "You know what I mean." And for a second, just a second, I saw it, that flicker of panic behind her eyes. She covered it fast. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said. So I pulled out my phone and showed her the picture. Tyler's tweet, the hotel photo, a screen recording of his car arriving at our building. The look on her face changed in slow motion, confusion, then horror, then something cold and resigned. She didn't cry, she didn't even deny it. Instead, she stood up and walked to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of water. "So what now?" she asked, like we were talking about what movie to watch. That's when I realized, She didn't feel bad, not really. She said she'd met Tyler at a networking mixer, that it was just drinks at first, that they connected. She told me it wasn't about sex, that he made her feel seen in a way I didn't anymore, that she'd planned to end things before it went too far. But it had gone too far. She said she didn't know he had a kid. I don't know if I believe her. I asked her why she posted that photo. The hotel room. She looked at me and said, I don't know, I guess I missed how I felt that weekend. Like it was a good memory. I couldn't take it anymore. I told her to pack a bag and leave. She didn't argue. She just nodded, went into the bedroom and started throwing things into a duffel. No apology. No begging. After she left, I sat alone in our apartment and looked around at all the things we'd built together. Photos on the wall, the couch we picked out, the record player she loved. It all felt fake. And then my phone buzzed. It was a DM from a woman I didn't know. Her profile picture was her and a little boy. It read, Hi, I think we need to talk. I'm Tyler's wife. I just stared at the message, reread it a dozen times. My mouth went dry. My pulse was pounding in my ears. Tyler's wife. Not girlfriend. Not ex. Wife. Wife. Maybe saw something on his phone or picked up on a change in his routine. Maybe she checked his location the same way I had. But whatever led her to me, I knew exactly how she felt. That pit in your stomach when everything suddenly makes sense and none of it is good. I hesitated for a minute, then typed back, Yeah, we really do. She replied almost immediately, asked if we could talk on the phone. I gave her my number. When she called, her voice was calm. Too calm, like someone trying not to shatter while standing on broken glass. Her name was Rachel. She told me she'd had her suspicions for a while. Tyler had become distant. Longer work trips, late-night showers, secretive with his phone. Sound familiar? She said she first saw my girlfriend's name pop up in his call logs about a month ago. Saved under something stupid. Tony Jim. Like he couldn't even be bothered to try. But what sealed it for her was a text he accidentally sent to her instead of Emily. It said, Wish I was waking up next to you again. Rachel replied, Wrong person? He never answered. That's when she started digging. And eventually she found the burner Instagram account I'd made to watch Emily. She saw that Emily had followed it, figured I must have been someone close to her. That's how she ended up in my DMs. We talked for over an hour. Two total strangers, both cheated on by the people we thought we'd grow old with, both sitting in our separate homes trying to figure out what was real and what wasn't. And then she told me the worst part. They had a second child on the way. Emily knew. She had to. There were pictures on Tyler's Instagram, him and Rachel at a baby shower, a cake with "It's a girl" in pink frosting. There was no hiding it unless you didn't want to see it. I felt physically sick. Rachel said she wasn't sure what she was going to do yet. She'd been with Tyler for almost 10 years. She didn't work, had left her job when their son was born. Her whole life was built around this man. And now she was stuck, pregnant, and blindsided. She didn't cry during the call. Not once. But I could hear it in her voice, this hollow, brittle pain that mirrored exactly how I felt. I told her what I'd seen, the hotel, the fake captions, the lies, and how Emily stood there in our kitchen acting like none of it mattered. There was a long pause. Then Rachel said quietly, They deserve each other, don't they? I didn't answer. Because yeah, they probably did. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time. I think I was in shock. I was grieving something invisible. Not just Emily, but the version of my life I thought I was living. All the trust, the memories, the plans, the future that now felt like it never existed in the first place. The next few days were a blur. Emily texted once, just, I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt you. I didn't reply. Then Tyler texted, whatever you think happened, it's more complicated than that. I blocked his number. Rachel and I kept in touch, weirdly. Not in any romantic way. Just two people sharing a kind of unspoken understanding. Sometimes she'd send a meme to break the silence. Sometimes I'd check in to see how she was doing. Her baby was due in the fall. She said she was considering staying with her sister for a while. Start fresh. As for me, I moved out of the apartment. Couldn't stand sleeping in that bed another night. Every corner of the place was haunted. The coffee mugs, the throw pillows, the way her perfume still lingered on the closet door handle. I rented a small one-bedroom on the edge of town. It's nothing special, but it's mine. And at least now I can sleep without constantly wondering who else had been in my home while I was too naive to see the truth. I'm still piecing things together. Trust, mostly. In myself, in other people. Some mornings I wake up and still reach for her out of habit. That part hurts the most, the way muscle memory doesn't know you've been betrayed. But I'm getting there. And now, every time someone posts a nostalgic photo, I look a little closer. A couple of months passed. I stopped checking her Instagram. At first, it was hard. Not to look, not to scroll, not to torture myself with the question of whether she was still seeing him, still living in the mess she helped create. But eventually, I hit that point where even the curiosity felt exhausting. I'd spent enough energy chasing down lies. I was done feeding the part of me that kept hoping for some closure that would never come. One night, maybe 3 months after everything went down, I got tagged in a group photo on Facebook by an old friend from college. A bunch of us had gone out for drinks, my first time really socializing since the breakup. We were smiling, laughing, nothing special. But someone liked the post. Emily. I stared at the notification for a long time. She hadn't liked anything of mine since she left. No text since her half-hearted apology. No emails, just silence. And now, this? A like? I clicked on her profile. Her bio was different. Gone were the old inside jokes, the silly references to our favorite movies. She'd changed her last name back to just her own. Her feed was curated like nothing had ever happened. Filtered photos, healing quotes, a post of her holding a cup of tea with the caption, "Growth looks good on me." It made me laugh out loud. Not because it was funny, but because I realized that she was already painting over what she did, turning it into some self-care narrative, like cheating was just a detour on her journey to becoming her best self. There was no mention of Tyler, none, like he didn't exist. I scrolled and scrolled, and the only trace of that part of her life was a single picture, the same hotel photo, still on her feed, same caption, "Take me back," no tag, no context, just a lie, still sitting there, quietly rotting in the open. I exited the app. The next day, I ran into Rachel again. Total accident, at a coffee shop across town. She looked tired but strong. She had that new mom energy, both completely drained and somehow glowing with purpose. She was holding her baby girl, tiny, soft, wrapped in a blanket with little stars on it. We talked for a few minutes. Nothing heavy, just life. She told me she moved out of the house, said Tyler was figuring himself out, whatever that meant. She didn't sound angry, just done. Like someone who had already fought every battle and realized it wasn't worth another drop of energy. Before we said goodbye, she looked at me and said, "I'm glad we talked back then. You were the only one who didn't gaslight me." That hit harder than I expected, because I knew exactly what she meant. When someone betrays you and acts like it's your fault or like you imagined it, it messes with your reality. Makes you question your own instincts, your sanity. It helped having someone else confirm that no, we weren't crazy. We were just collateral damage in someone else's selfishness. I walked out of that coffee shop feeling lighter. Not healed, not fixed, but lighter. And here's the truth. There's no perfect ending to this kind of story. No dramatic confrontation, no satisfying revenge, just slow, silent rebuilding. I don't miss Emily anymore. Not really. What I miss is the version of her I invented in my head. The idea of her. But even that's fading. These days I go to work, hit the gym, make dinner for one. It's simple. It's real. Sometimes I catch myself laughing at something dumb on TV and think, she'd probably hate this show. And it makes me smile, because I get to like whatever I want now. And sometimes, late at night, when I'm lying in bed and the quiet starts to creep in, I remind myself of one thing. It wasn't my fault. It never was. A few weeks later, something strange happened. I was walking through a farmer's market on a Saturday morning, grabbing some fresh coffee and trying to pretend like I wasn't low-key people watching for someone I might recognize, when I heard someone say my name. Not loudly, just enough to make me turn. It was Emily. She looked different. Not dramatically, but enough. Hair shorter, darker. A long tan coat, sunglasses perched on her head even though it was cloudy. She had that same confident posture she always carried, like she was in control of the room, even if the room was just a row of tomato stands and old couples selling honey. "Hey," she said, like we were just casual acquaintances bumping into each other after class. like she hadn't detonated my life. I said nothing at first, just looked at her, trying to figure out what she wanted. "I saw your friend tagged you last week," she said. "You looked good. Healthier. Healthier. Like I'd been sick when we were together." In a way, I guess I had been. "Thanks," I said flatly. She looked down at the paper cup in her hands. "Can we talk? Just for a second?" I almost said no. Almost turned around and walked away, because what more could she possibly say that hadn't already been said or screamed or texted in broken messages at 2 a.m.? But something stopped me. Curiosity, maybe, or closure, or just the need to hear her say it out loud. We walked a little away from the crowd, over by a quiet bench next to a bookstore. She sat. I stayed standing. She looked up at me like she was trying to read my face, but I kept it still. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry," she began. "Not the way I said it in the text. Not the lazy, cowardly version. I mean it." I stayed silent. "I messed everything up," she said, eyes not quite meeting mine. You were the real thing. I didn't realize that until I lost it." That's when I spoke. "You didn't lose it, you gave it away." Her lip trembled, and for a moment I wondered if this was finally it. If she was going to break down, admit everything, let it all out. But instead, she just nodded. "You're right," she whispered. I asked the one question that still lingered in the back of my mind like a splinter. "Why him?" She blinked, caught off guard. "I don't know," she said. "It wasn't about him, it was about me, about feeling stuck. Like I was watching my life play out through a window, and he just made it feel exciting again." "So it was a movie to you," I said, "and I was the background character." She looked up, guilty. "I didn't mean to hurt you. You planned a weekend in a hotel room, you posted about it." Her voice broke then. I know. We sat in that tension for a minute. She told me she wasn't seeing Tyler anymore. Said it ended right after everything came out. Claimed he tried to keep it going, but she felt disgusted once she saw the bigger picture. Whether that was true or just another rewrite of the past, I don't know. I didn't care much. I asked her one last thing before I walked away. If none of this had come out, if I hadn't noticed that hotel room, would you have told me? She didn't answer right away. Her silence was the only answer I needed. So I just said, "Take care, Emily," and walked off without looking back. There was no dramatic music, no swelling moment of finality, just the sound of shoes on pavement and the murmur of people shopping for fresh peaches. That was the last time I saw her. And now I'm good. Not perfect, not magically healed. But I laugh more. I trust myself again. I've started writing, nothing serious, just little pieces of clarity, thoughts that once ate me alive, now pinned down with words. And sometimes on quiet nights, I think about how close I came to spending my life with someone who would have let me live in a lie forever. But then I remember, the truth always finds its way through. Even if it starts with a hotel room in a blurry Instagram post. Especially then. Either Tyler was cheating too, or Emily was involved with a man who already had a family. This was way bigger than I thought.